how the progression worked for us, and perhaps you can take an aspect of that and integrate it into what you're currently doing so the progression will work for you. I noticed this little kind of cool, funky place, and in my dream, I had been cutting hair, and I was in my salon, and I was looking down at everything that was going on. I noticed a for rent sign. Super, super cool place. And lo and behold, it had 20-foot ceilings and a mezzanine that overlooked the floor. And I called the landlord and I said, "Hi, this is Peter Anthony. I noticed that you had a sign for rent on your property, and I'd like to rent it. What do you do?" I said, "Oh, funny you should ask. I'm a hairdresser." He said, "We're not looking for a salon." I said, "I appreciate that." I said, "But I'm not just a salon. I mean, you got to know really who I am. I'm Peter Anthony. Hello?" "I think you misunderstood me." I said, "I don't want to open up a beauty parlor. I want to open up a hair salon." He said, "Oh, that clarifies everything. We don't want a hair salon or a beauty parlor." And I said, "What is going on, man? You gotta kind of give me a break here. This is..." So we went back and forth, and the banter continued, and it really became quite interesting. To make a long story short, I called him every day for over a week, and finally he was frustrated with me because I was always polite, I was always enthusiastic, I was always passionate, and I obviously was really determined and really focused. And he appreciated all of those qualities because those were the qualities that led him to become the entrepreneur that he was, and eventually elevated him through life. So he said, "Well, I appreciate these qualities that you have, but we're not looking for a salon." And I said, "I could understand why you wouldn't want a salon." I said, "Salons are a pain in the neck." I said, "But I'm not a salon. I'm something different, and I'm gonna really just do something completely different that's never been done before. And it's beyond a salon." I said, "This is a place, it's almost like a sanctuary for hair, if you could imagine that." And he said, "Well, I don't really understand what you're saying." And I said, "Well, I'm a guy. I didn't play with dolls. I get that you don't understand this." I said, "But women take this stuff very seriously." And I said, "I'm the best of the best." But a lot of people had heard of me. So I said, "Listen, Lou, I completely appreciate that you don't want a salon. And I completely appreciate that you might not be interested." I said, but do me a favor." I said, "If you wouldn't mind," I said, "I'm going to call you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I said, do me a favor. I know you're from the area. Ask your wife if she's ever heard of Peter Anthony or any of her girlfriends have. I said, they'll be able to tell you better. It's very hard for me to explain it, but I'm sure your wife can articulate it in a way that would make more sense to you." He said, "Okay." I said, and if it's still no, it's no." That next morning, not at 9 o'clock when I was preparing, but at about 7:45 when I was getting ready to go to work, I get a phone call, and it's Lou Friedman. I say, "Hi, Mr. Friedman, this is Peter Anthony." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I got a couple of questions for you, kid. First question, can you really afford the rent?" I said, "Absolutely." I really didn't know if I could afford the rent. It was some ridiculous price. It was like $2,800 for 900 square feet. He says yes, and he said, "Okay, cool." So we get past that. He said, "Well, it's all based on this one condition." and here's the condition, and here's what I'm telling you. It's so important to understand that when you make a decision to move forward, everything will come to you. Everything. Not just a little bit. All of it. It will all move in your direction. Mr. Friedman, after almost 2 weeks of non-stop phone calls, made a deal with me to ask his wife. Not only had his wife heard of me, she'd been trying to get an appointment with me for 6 months. And the condition of my getting the lease was if I could fit his wife into my schedule. The power of hairdressing. It's the power of being passionate, being focused, and being good at what you do. When you love what you do so much that you can take it to the next level, that you're so certain that you can make a difference in people's lives, and you listen to them and you're focused, the world is your oyster. There's not really a lot more powerful things that you can do. So I did get the location. He did let me sign the lease, and that was the first of about 10 different things that had to happen in a very particular sequence. But because I never lost my vision, I never allowed myself to become distracted or to listen to the negative, because everybody had negative, you know.